Carolina and Duke University were the first early adopters of this system. And just for those of you who don't know, the World Wide Web, which is the internet, is a weird thing. I don't think people conceptualize of the internet a lot, but there are parts of the internet that we don't know exist. There's like quantum web and all this stuff. It's really something that's slightly different from the internet even. But the World Wide Web took shape in 1988, and that was like the first direct IP connection between Europe and North America. That's when that first IP connection was established, was in 88. So Usenet is about 8 years ahead of its time. And granted, there were some other kind of proto-internet network situations before then, dating back to, I think, the 50s even.
ARPANET?
Yeah, in 1969, I think,
Those were all like military.
ARPANET. Yeah, military kind of or just like on-site local networks that were all connected to each other.
And then, even before the internet, there was stuff like just you could call BBSs if you had a modem. Remember modems?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I remember thinking, man, how could they get any faster?
Oh, yeah, no, I had a 300 baud modem, and I'd dial up these BBSs and stuff, and I'm watching the characters going across the screen, and then I upgraded to a 1200 baud modem, and oh, wow, it was so cool.
Yeah, I remember the pain of trying to watch an image appear.
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't even, I was young enough, it wasn't even as if it was anything dirty. I'm on National Geographic looking at giraffes. Man.
And Carta.
Gonna take forever.
Yeah. For the layman, we can say that Usenet was just like a mail server. It was part mail server, part file transfer, and part kind of announcement board. That'd be similar to an early forum situation, kind of like Reddit or...
Yeah, like the bulletin boards were that way. They were kind of like forums also.
So my real quick question, because of course now you can't see images of this stuff very easily, but most of what I understand is it was purely character driven. It was text driven. It wasn't like today where there's words and pictures.
Yeah, there's no formatting.
It's just words.
I think sometimes they had like, a bumper, maybe a border around something, but I don't even think that. I think it was
like ASCII imagery if there was imagery.
It was totally just text based.
Okay. I was pretty sure of that, but I wanted to double check. Just being as old as it was, I was pretty sure that couldn't be supported. So,
yeah,
thank
you
you.
Probably could use like FTP to send images, not huge high-res ones, but
But that wouldn't have been on the announcement bulletin board sort of situation.
Oh, no, not
that
at all.
would have had to have been file transfer.
That's something you got to explicitly say. I want to transfer this to my own PC.
Ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this incoming thing? Because it's going to take up all your RAM.
Let's go. Actually, it was probably faster at that point just to put it on the 3.5-inch floppy drive and mail it to.
Probably.
Or print it out line by line.
It's hard for our listeners who are all young whippersnappers to appreciate this.
Yeah. The good news is I know that a number of our listeners are not.
Not all of them are that young.
So many of them will remember stuff like this.
All right. So, old people, should we get back to the story?
Oh yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was doing a little searching for information on this one, and I came
on ARPANET.
And on the Markovian denigrate in general, and I came across this paper. It was an academic paper. They were talking about the relationship between Usenet and the DARPA and DARPANET, and because in those days Usenet was always trying to interface and interact with DARPANET, and DARPANET was
DARPA or ARPA
or ARPANET, I guess. Yeah, it would be. I guess it would be ARPA. Yeah.
Okay.
ARPA.
So the ARPA, they would be trying to get into ARPANET, and ARPANET was very exclusive, very choosy for obvious security reasons.
An ARPANET, for
people,
those who are unaware, is a packet switching network it was for the military, basically.
Yeah,
for the government.
Yeah, the advanced research projects. And so this paper was hilarious because it was all about the relationship between the two and how it was an example of sort of gender bias, because to them the authors of this paper, who were obviously somewhere from the fever swamps of academia, ARPA represented like the masculine, and here was Usenet, the feminine, trying to get access, and here was ARPA going, No. And just being mean for the sake of being mean. And so, you know.
You mean like it is
And
today?
this was somebody who, in one of our universities, writing a huge freaking research paper on this issue of ARPA being mean and kind of like masculine.
Bully.
So
Yeah.
it's not a new issue, kids.
So the trolls have always been here.
Always been here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and you know, where there is electronic mail,
Of
there is
course.
spam,
Naturally.
of course. And Usenet had a mail system and a forum system, which were kind of. It's my understanding that the way that replies worked is it was kind of like emailing to the board almost, because it was your username was your email address basically.
Yeah, I don't know if you could like email somebody specifically back or if it just got posted publicly to the board.
It did, but I think it was like through the email. It's hard to really grasp.
Parts out exactly how it worked.
Yeah.
But what was really nice about this system is there were no links that you could click on.
Yeah.
So
That was
that's
nice.
a really great thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, your password is all messed up. Click on this link and give us your password and
Nope.
we'll fix everything
None
for
of
you.
that. None of that.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So in 1996, Usenet developed a unique spam issue, and it was spam on its news feeds in the comment section mostly.
Comment spam. God,
Comment
the worst.
spam, but also on boards. News feeds were server specific, so the way that Usenet worked is that each like little community had its own server, but the servers talked to each other. So you would get, if somebody posted something on like the everybody news bulletin, you could specify that that news bulletin would be shared on all of the servers. They would communicate and
Kind of subscribe.
yeah, kind of infect each other almost, which is kind of what happened with this. Well, these, I guess. The posts were subjected Markovian, parallax, denigrate.
These are the spam posts.
Yeah, the spam posts. And the text of these spam messages were all different. There were reportedly hundreds, like within just on one day.
So it's kind of a giant
On
attack.
August 5th, yeah, that this happened. Most of them were subjected Markovian, parallax, denigrate, but some of them just had those words in them that people kind of attribute those to maybe being part of this as well, but it's hard to tell. And the messages sounded something like this. I'm gonna have one
Appeared to be real words.
They are real words.
Real random.
So I'm gonna have one of you guys read this thing.
Okay.
Okay, we got a Rochambeau for this.
Oh,
All right.
damn, I get it.
All right. Okay, go for it.
Jitterbugging, McKinley, A, Break, Newtonian, Infer, Ka, Update, Cohen, Air, Collaborate, Ruse, Sports Writing, Rococo, Invocate, Tassel, Shadflower, Debbie Sterling, Pathogenesis, Escrutar, Adventitious, Novo, ITT, Most Chairperson, Dwight, Herzog, Differ, Pinpoint, Dunk, McKinley, Pendant, Firelight, Uranus, Episodic Medicine, Diddy, Crag, Flogging, Variac, Brotherhood, Web, Impromptu, File, Countenance, Inheritance, Cohesion, Refrigerate, Morphine, Napkin, Inlaid, Gennaro, Nameable, Yearbook, Hark.
Okay, first off, you mispronounced Rococo.
Of all the things I mispronounced in there, that's the one you go for?
Oh, there were a few others. but
Thanks,
yeah,
dude.
Okay.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
the one that really bothered me.
And now, listeners, you listen to this podcast.
Please take the
And
time.
this-
Go back 30 seconds and listen to it again.
Listen to it like 5 times in a row.
Yeah, this is pretty typical
Actually,
for us, really.
please, somebody make that your ringtone.
Yeah.
You are going to confuse some people.
Yeah, for real. So you, like us, probably immediately assume that this is a code of some kind.
Has anybody tried to crack it?
Let me put this on the back burner.
I gave it about 10 seconds and thought I decided that's not worth it.
I gave it more than that, but let's put it on the back
But let's
burner.
put it on the back
Yeah.
burner,
I'm an idiot.
and we'll talk about it in theories, okay?
Okay.
All right.
The users of Usenet, predictably, were the same type of people who are users of, like, Reddit these days, and predictably, when there were hundreds of these gibberish messages spamming the daylights out of them, they decided to take action and launch a full armchair investigation.
Does that
Good
mean they
for
lost
them.
their minds?
Yeah, I think they did. A lot of them did. And just like the users of Reddit, they lost interest like within 2 days.
Well, this is not the sort of thing that really grips you and holds you for a long time.
Yeah, it's not. Which
of
is
course-
why we're doing an episode on it.
Well, Interestingly, I mean, for these guys, really, it was. You got to remember that this was like probably the first mass spamming out there. So
It's a new thing.
We're totally used to it now. We just ignore it. But for these guys, it probably was an interesting phenomenon
Yeah, I probably
that
just
they got
looked like.
bored with.
I think, one of the things that a lot of people just assume is like, hey, okay, somebody's messing up, something messed up. The way that file got transferred to my server is scrambled. So, whoops. Oh well. But then when they started talking, they were like, no, these things are showing up everywhere. And so they were a little intrigued, but they didn't really get very far. End of story. Just kidding.
Not quite.
10 years later, and 10 years ago, from when we're recording now, so even longer.
The internet had matured somewhat.
It had become the internet.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, the internet has never matured.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
Let's be fair.
It's interesting. I can't remember the guy's name. He was like an academic type guy, and he was talking about the future of this internet thing, that was going to come up. All these people
Neo Okaku
online.
or whatever his name is.
I can't remember his name, but he was talking about what it's going to be like. It's like there'll be all these people that will be online, and because everybody shares the same interests, and because everybody wants to be there, it'll be a very positive community.
I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You can't read it without laughing.
Yeah. Wrong. Dude.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
Yeah.
That one didn't come true.
So, 10 years later and 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Our forefathers wrote. Oh, sorry. Wrong one.
Websites like, Cracked. Cracked was pretty popular about 10 years ago.
They're still popular.
They're still pretty
Cracked.
popular, but they were really popular then. Started the trend of the list-based articles. One of the most popular type was like, hey, 5 Wikipedia articles to give you the creeps. Which,
Check out this new thing. Number 3 is amazing.
They weren't titling them like that, though.
I know.
Which was great. I miss those days.
I hate those. What do you mean miss those days? Those articles still come up. Wait, are you talking about the number 3 will amaze you?
Yeah, I miss the days when we didn't have that.
Oh, me too.
When clickbait wasn't a thing.
Yeah. Crack does not do that. I want to say.
No, they don't.
Everybody else does that. And
you know what? Okay, so can I just make a complaint real quick about the internet?
Okay.
What I don't understand is
just one thing?
Just one thing. This is just the only thing I'm going to complain about at the moment. Is that I will see an article and I will think, okay, I'll look at it. I know it's clickbait. And the thing that they are putting in the very beginning to entice you to click is never actually in the list.
Yep. Oh yeah, no. I was looking at one of those just yesterday. It was like 11 NFL players in their fantastic, stupid mansions.
Yes.
And they had this aerial photo of this incredible mansion that's surrounded by a man-made lake with these man-made islands.
And it wasn't in it.
And it was not in the article.
So dumb.
It's not dumb. It's annoying.
Rein it in.
Oh yeah, sorry. Where were
Said creepy Wikipedia articles. The articles about creepy Wikipedia articles.
They're all creepy, yeah.
Included one of them. I wasn't able to find the original one, but it included the Wikipedia page of Markovian parallax denigrade.
When you say you couldn't find, you mean the cracked list?
I couldn't find whatever the list that it was on.
Okay,
that it was featured on. I'm sure it was featured on a number of them.
Oh yeah.
The Wikipedia page for MPD. Furthermore, Wikipedia states that the mere existence of this spam doesn't really mean that there should be a Wikipedia article on it.
I suppose they have a point there.
Which I guess is fair.
I'm sorry, I looked at the Wikipedia page. It was pretty bad.
I've seen
Wikipedia
worse though, and they're still around. So
yeah, but those are usually self-curated pages. The ones that are worse than this are the ones that I'm an actor and I'm going to write all about myself in the third person
until they get deleted. Yeah.
So this Wikipedia article, as far as I can tell, in the Wayback Machine, was created on September 13th, 2004. And then it was deleted, finally, on May 10th, 2009 from Wikipedia. I guess remember that date. It's very vaguely important, maybe. Could be important.
5, 10,
Could be interesting in one of our theories.
All right.
And it won't surprise you that 7chan got a hold of this tidbit and decided to start digging.
You're going to tell us about 7chan and 4chan and all those
Yeah,
guys?
we're just going to take a quick little detour on our tour of the internet.
Okay.
7chan is kind of related to 4chan. The chans, quote unquote, there are many, started out as 2chan.net, which was an image board based out of Japan. 4chan was the Western version of Japan's 2chan.
Really? I had no idea that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And
either.
then-
I stayed away from it.
And then
okay.
7chan is kind of 7chan is kind of the rival of 4chan. They have like civil wars back and forth, blah blah blah.
They choose 7 because it's a prime number.
I don't know. They both exist on this kind of limbo area between the internet as like fear the government and stuff, and just use our normal browsing and every once in a while incognito mode, where we exist on the internet, and where the deep web is.
Dark web.
Deep web.
Well, so there's a difference
questionable web?
between the dark and the deep.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
Yes. So the chans kind of exist in this middle ground where for a lot of the content, especially if you're browsing, you don't necessarily want to just go.
So don't do this at work, is what you're
Definitely
saying?
don't do it on at work. Although I will tell you that my place of work, I didn't know I was clicking on a link that was taking me to 7chan. Check your links, guys. But I was allowed to get onto this board and immediately was like, no, right? But there's a firewall at work that won't allow me to go onto College Humor. Doesn't exist for 7chan apparently.
Yeah.
Mine does the same stupid thing.
Yeah. I think they just assume like, well, nobody would be so dumb to go on to 4chan and 7chan.
They just never heard of them, probably.
Yeah, but just don't. I mean, probably don't do it at work. I mean, you know, whatever. Basically, 7chan is like pretty lax on the law following. It's all anonymous based, and anything goes as far as posting.
Is this like run by the FBI or something?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Also, in the interest of protecting the show, just real quick, I will say that I have no side in the 4chan and 7chan war, so please just ignore it.
Trolls is banned.
Yeah.
True. No, I've heard of you guys, but I really don't care one way or the other. So yeah.
Cool.
And I wish you both well, and I'm sure both sides are right.
Some blogs that I think saw this stuff on 7chan started to do research, none of which I can find actual links to, but I can follow dead links to, so I don't think these blogs exist anymore, which is fine. It's been 10 years.
Yeah, true.
I don't expect them to. I think they started doing research in late 2008. Then in spring of 2009, one of the bloggers was able to find one remaining spam post thanks to Google, because Google has actually retained public archives of a lot of Usenet stuff.
So there was only one surviving piece of this copy of this spam on the interwebs. That was it.
And the one that we read, that was it. Yeah. There were a couple
So-
that they found that didn't have the subject line, that just had one word maybe interspersed. But of this specific one, there's only the one that exists still.
So we've retained one copy of this spam message and one copy of the smallpox
Exactly.
virus.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
Well, it's
Yeah.
important, I think, to preserve this for, I don't know if there's one yet, but there should be a museum of spam on the internet.
I agree.
Yeah, there totally ought to be, and there will be if
There
there
will
isn't
be.
one already.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But
Start that.
Yeah, actually, it's a good idea. I like it.
so Google does have a public archive of like Usenet stuff. It's pretty interesting, actually. You can actually get a bit of a sense of what it was like a little bit. The message was from, again, because they had to have the email address associated with this, from Susan Lindauer at worf.uwsp.edu, whose like display name was Chris Brokerage, actually, but
That's interesting.
it seems that within maybe a week of the discovery of this email address being connected to that original spam post, the Wikipedia page was taken down.
This bit of spam from this email address. This is from August.
It's from that August 5th, 96 date.
Okay. 'cause
that
that's
they
when
all
the,
hit.
The big batch happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. The action of deleting this Wikipedia page was kind of swift. I mean, they do have this action in the Wikipedia process that's called swift deletion, and it's for things that are really, really offensive or awful, and that they usually get within 24 hours. They'll delete those.
But why this one? I mean, because
But
it's
this
not
one,
that-
they didn't do that, but they did within a week.
which is actually pretty swift for Wikipedia, because I mean, I've watched them. You know, I've watched or looked at some of the logs of the various debates that were, gee, should we delete this or not?
Yeah.
Sometimes the debate can go on for a while.
Yeah, so the way that
Yeah, not
this one...
eons, but a while.
The way that this one happened is two Wikipedia users suggested that the article be deleted within less than 24 hours of each other, and then less than a week after that it was permanently deleted.
So somebody who knew Susan, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. And Joe kind of dropped a little bit of a bombshell, but some of you may be yelling at me right now because I've totally glossed over that email address. Okay. I'm going to start right here with a caveat that says this episode is not about 9/11. This episode is not about 9/11. This episode is not brought to you about 9/11. It's not about truthers. It's not about anything like that. So don't send us emails about that stuff. We're just talking about this one person. Don't go
Who
crazy.
happens to be involved.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, we do have an email address. If you want to talk about 9/11, it's called bouncing right back to you at email.com. And and if you don't get through right away, keep trying.
Yeah.
But you can reach us there for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It'll get straight to us.
Yeah.
Okay, but fine. The name Susan Lindauer may be familiar to you in that she is an anti-war activist and intense conspiracy theorist.
Very much so.
She has also been a journalist, a U.S. congressional staffer, and she is an author. Susan is the daughter of former Republican nominee for the governor of Alaska.
And his name was also Susan?
No.
Okay.
She started out as a journalist and then worked as a congressional staffer for 2 Oregon reps, actually.
Congressman. Peter DeFazio, Ron Wyden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, and Wyden's a senator now, too, by the way.
He is, and he's great.
No, I don't know about that.
Then she was the press secretary for 2 other Democrats in Congress until 2002.
Yeah, something happened between 2001 and 2002.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Not
something
quite
about
sure. Uh-huh.
like a bend.
Yeah.
We'll get there, Joe.
Yeah.
In 1994, just after finishing up working for it was Congressman Wyden at that point, she started to socialize with some people, most notably Dr. Richard Fries.
I think that's how it's pronounced, yeah.
Who is famous mostly for his patents.
I gotta say, this guy has a wiki page, and he is what truly a renaissance man, I would say, because he's a physician, also an inventor, and a very successful businessman.
Yep.
And apparently a spy.
Yeah, he's somehow apparently connected to the U.S. counterintelligence.
Can I just say something about the whole Renaissance man thing?
Mm-hmm.
He may actually just be very good at getting his name on patents, Joe.
That might be it, too.
I work at a place that files a lot of patents, and there are certain guys who you can tell get consulted on things all the time and therefore get their name on it, because there's no way with the work that I know that they do that they could have that many frickin' patents in a short period of time.
Well, it might be Renaissance man. It's maybe overstating a little bit. But all I want to say is this guy really...
It's an impressive...
He's got an impressive resume.
list,
He's got his fingers in a lot of pies.
Okay.
I mean, really. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for reasons I'm not totally clear on, Susan and Richard started meeting on a weekly basis to discuss diplomatic ties and Richard's, quote, infiltration, unquote, of a network of Syrian terrorists. I've read that Susan referred to Richard as her, quote, contact in the CIA, unquote, and that when someone asked him if he was, in fact, in the CIA, he said that he could neither confirm or deny that, and he couldn't discuss it further.
Yeah, which usually means that he's never been anywhere near the CIA.
Yeah.
Although in this guy's case, not necessarily so.
So I'm just going to go ahead and pause right here and say that I literally cannot tell what is truth and what is fiction when it comes to Susan. So
Or Richard.
I'm just going to
Richard, some of the things
say...
he says, I question.
So I'm just going to say all of it and let you be the boss of deciding what you believe and what you don't believe. Susan started to claim that she had been harassed after meeting with Libyan officials to tell them that she didn't think they were responsible for the Flight 103 bombing in 1988, which was the Lockerbie bombing.
Yeah, big thing.
Yeah, I'm shocked that suddenly she was getting harassed for telling people that she didn't think they were responsible for it.
She was sure that Gaddafi was framed for the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Eventually, Gaddafi did acknowledge responsibility for the whole thing.
Okay.
He did.
Susan was sure that neither Libya nor Syria were blamed for that incident. In 2000, when W was elected,
George
W. Bush, he selected Susan's second cousin as his chief of staff. Apparently, she went a little crazy.
The second cousin or Susan?
Susan went a little crazy. The second cousin was a guy, and started leaving him, his name was Card, started leaving him letters on his doorstep, basically offering to use her, quote, intelligent contacts, unquote, to negotiate a way out of the war in Iraq.
Which everybody saw coming at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like 3 years away, but hey, okay.
Yeah. You may have guessed it already because I kind of hinted that before, but Susan is indeed a 9/11 truther, quote-unquote truther, and she's been very vocal. She claims, as others do, that she had knowledge of the attack prior to it happening and she was ignored, I guess. Richard, for his part, Dr. Richard,
Please.
stopped talking to her after 9/11, basically saying that her views on 9/11 were malicious.
He also, another quote I heard from him was that her talk had taken a, what was the word, seditious bent. Yeah.
Yeah. So he didn't even want to be speaking with her anymore. And then in 2004, she was arrested by the FBI for acting as an unregistered agent of a foreign government. So it seems like she was maybe talking to some of the people she said she was talking to, though it was probably not as in much of a government capacity as she said it was. And so she came back and actually said, no, I'm actually a CIA asset, and they're, throwing me under the bus to hide something about 9/11. They knew.
Oh, of course they did.
Right. So she was held about a year, and then she had a lengthy delusional history.
Delusions of grandeur.
Yeah. And apparently there were some meds that she could have taken to make her fit, but she said, no, I'm not taking those pills. I'm not crazy.
And the prosecution really lobbied to have her that administered forcibly.
Yeah. And then finally in 2009, basically the feds decided, you know what, this is not worth our time and energy, so we're just going to drop all the charges against her.
It makes you wonder why Dr. Richard Police was willing to spend so much time hanging out with her. She was, but I'm not really sure, but
I tell you all of this, not because this episode is about 9/11.
But there was that Susan Lindauer with the email address.
There was.
Yeah.
So there are a couple theories, really two big theories.
Yeah.
Three. There are three theories about the Markovian parallax denigrate. But first, let's take a break.
Ooh, a break. Yeah, I can pee.
Opal has wants and needs. She wants your attention. She wants her food. She needs to destroy the squirrel that lives in the tree in front of her house. It would be fantastic if Opal could talk back to you, though. When you sit on the couch together and you tell her about your day, she looks at you with that understanding face, but the closest she comes to giving you valuable feedback is rubbing her head against you. And maybe just talking to Opal isn't enough. Maybe it's time to talk to another person. If you've ever thought about going to therapy, but found it too inconvenient, too expensive, or just too embarrassing to make it into an office, then give Talkspace a try. Talkspace is the online therapy company, and they make it easy to connect with a licensed therapist, handpicked just for you, for as little as $32 a week. Using Talkspace, you can text, audio, and video message your therapist as much as you want. Your Talkspace therapist can listen to you vent about work, family, or explore relationships with people around you, and help put you on a path to a happier life. To sign up or learn more, go to Talkspace.com/sideways, and as a special offer to our listeners, you can use the coupon code SIDEWAYS to get $30 off your first month. That's Sideways at Talkspace.com/sideways. Opal's needs are pretty simple because she's a cat. Yours aren't because you're a human.
And we're back. Let's talk about theories.
Let's.
Sweet.
Since we were just talking about old Susan,
I don't think she'd like to be referred to as old.
Yeah.
it was old.
I don't know how old she is.
O-L-E.
O-L.
By,
Yeah.
by the way,
Old Susan.
Old. Yeah. Is she still alive?
Yes?
Yeah. She have a website?
Yeah.
She's on a whole bunch of websites.
She's on the
She's
circuit.
alive and kicking and hosting talks.
Talking about 9/11 and the truth and all that stuff. Yeah.
Or at least her story.
So the first theory we're going to talk about is Susan really was a CIA asset, and she was posting coded messages on Usenet as early as '96. Susan was apparently actually meeting with Middle Eastern diplomats,
So that's what got her in trouble.
But this is actually like in her official capacity, or just meeting with people.
That's a good question, Joe.
According to her, it was an official capacity as a back channel contact for the CIA, right?
Mm-hmm.
She will, if you watch her videos, which I really tried to watch.
They're hard to get through.
They're hard to get through.
Yeah.
She repeats a lot of the same words over and over and over, as if the repetition of the word increases the truth of it. But she kept using the word back channel a lot, and that was how she was contacting. I think she talked to not Iran, it was Iraq, and apparently got some money for doing so. So she
From the Iraqis.
denies that she got money, which is one of the things that landed her in hot water.
Yeah.
Because it appears she did not fill out the proper IRS form, which I had the number of written down and I don't have anymore.
Yeah, so, I mean, like I said, I can't tell what's true and what's not when it comes to her, so... And the other thing that people point to is that the revelation of Susan's name being attached to that spam does seem to coincide with the apparent wiping and or totally discrediting of the Wikipedia page and anything online regarding it.
So Susan, maybe.
What was Susan doing in
Has a
August of
friend with the
1996 is what I want to know, because that seems like that would be when the important thing went down.
It would be, yeah.
And as far as I can tell, she wasn't doing of anything of note at that point. Is that correct?
She was working for Karen Mosley Braun. Carol Mosley Braun, who was at the time a senator for Illinois. Is that true? Yep.
So, but the senator that she was working for didn't have any kind of nefarious CIA or Black Ops kind of seat on some council or anything that we knew about?
No, she was actually a one-termer, and she was considered kind of a lightweight, and she wasn't really letting near anything too serious.
She was
She
too
was-
new to start with?
No,
Yeah.
she was in Senate from 93 to 99.
Which is one Senate term. They're six-year
Oh,
terms.
that's right. I always
Yeah.
forget. That's so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, no, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Susan wasn't doing other stuff.
Doing other stuff. Okay.
It could have been, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right,
She's been
all
around
right.
the hill for a while, so...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's 2 years that she's been talking to Mr. Robert Fwees or Freeze or however you say his name.
Yeah, Mr. Fwees, the
Yeah.
doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, so on the other hand, Susan is kind of guano crazy,
A
so
little bit, yeah.
I don't know if I trust that.
She and Carol Mosley Braun would have been a good fit, actually. She's now ambassador to Samoa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The senator.
yeah. She was ambassador to somewhere else before, too.
Somewhere not important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Samoa.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm
Samoa
really sorry.
is important.
It is.
Don't be
Well,
mean.
if you're a Samoan, it's really important.
Yep.
They
So
need
next
a lot of
theory.
resources down there.
Yeah.
Actually, seriously.
Next theory.
All right, go ahead.
What's that?
Susan has nothing to... This is a long theory title, I'm sorry. Susan has nothing to do with this because Susan Lindauer isn't really that weird of a name, and also there was one of those working at the university that email address is registered to at the time, so... the website, or the university that spam was sent from, the email address where that was registered at, was the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point.
Yeah, uwsp.edu.
Yeah, and in
makes sense.
spring of 1995, there's articles talking about this program that one Susan Lindauer, different Susan Lindauer, was in
the
charge of
name?
organizing. There's like proof in the, there's academic journals written about her studies that she was doing there, so we know that she was there at that time. That's where that web address is located. So it's not unreasonable to assume that it was just a hacked email address.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So